I don't know if you counted how many features they've added to OM-5 compared to EM5 Mark III. There were 20 interesting new features that EM5 Mark III does not have. Hi, it's Peter here. Let's get right into the business. Let's start with a disclaimer. This new OM-5 from OMDS is not mine. It was loaned to me from OMDS so that I can make a couple of videos about the new OM system OM-5 camera. And I will return it after I've made those few videos. But let's start with the look and feel. The body is exactly the same. There's not much difference, except one difference that you might have seen. Yes, it says OM system on top of the camera and not Olympus like it used to be. This is the first camera that does not have any Olympus branding. The look and feel is just about the same, but inside, as you saw all those features flying inside EM5 Mark III, so that it was transferred to this camera, is huge. So this is a totally new camera, even though it looks the same. Who is this camera for? OM1 was a no-brainer. It is one of the best, if not the best camera for bird and wildlife photographers, because the price is really reasonable for that and when it comes to the features. What about this one, OM-5? It's a lot harder to market this because now we have to compare it a bit more with the same price point cameras, and I will get to the price later. But I think OMDS made a very clever move and marketing this as a camera for those who like to be outdoors in the woods, like I'm now, and want to capture memories. And that, of course, should be the point when I'm reviewing or making the first impression of this new OM-5 camera from OMDS. Does it live up to that? We have to look at the benefits and specs, features and benefits. The main thing is, what I think is, of course, the size. Like I said before, the whole system is really small. It's so convenient to use. I have the 20mm f1.4 on this, and this is just the perfect size to carry around when you go outdoors and want to capture your memories from that, having fun with friends and stuff and go outdoors and enjoy the life. This is a perfect camera for catching those memories. They improved the weather sealing from IP1X, I think it was, and now it's IP53. So it's the same weather sealing as OM1. So in that sense, the body is new. It has better weather sealing than EM5 Mark III. Like we always say that when we go outdoors and if we get a bit cold, it's not the weather, it's wrong equipment that we wear, or wrong clothes, I would say rather. The same thing with photography. Doesn't matter if it rains, you can take the photographs, and bad weather is really good for photography. And then the IBIS. It's improved by one stop, so it's 6.5 stops body, and then if you have a lens with IS built in, then it's going to be 7.5 stops. And that's huge. That is really huge. We have to remember that if a camera is really light like this one is, it is a lot harder to make longer exposures. But with this, a few second exposures, no problem. And I think that's something that is really important when you go out hiking. You don't need to have tripods or anything like that because the IBIS is so good. And then another great feature is that they add Starry AF for this. So you can use autofocus when you're making those night shots of the night sky. That's really something that this camera should have, and it has. And I think that's a good improvement. And also it backs up the claim for outdoor adventure photographer. And then it can be charged with USB. And again, another feature that you can benefit when you go outdoors. You don't need to have massive amount of extra battery. Just plug it into the USB charger or the USB power bank and it will charge the battery. Unfortunately, it cannot be used while charging, but still you can charge while taking a break and not photographing. And I think that's a good improvement. It's not a USB-C, it's micro USB, which of course could have been USB-C, but it's not. I think it's a minor thing because they provide the cord with it. And then let's talk a few things about the video features before we talk some other great things about this camera. Video is a really big thing. I know there are a lot of photographers who don't care at all if there are video features or not, but today's market is so that vlogging and content creation and video is expanding all the time. It's big already, but it's getting bigger all the time. So having really good video features are crucial for cameras if they want to sell it. So they have a wider audience for this. And EM5 Mark III was a really, really great vlogging camera, and this is even better. The improved AF, so this AF matches now EM1 Mark III. The EM5 Mark III was really good, but now it's even better than that. And then there is one good feature for content creators, vertical video, which is really important for content creators who make content for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Insta Reels. I'm not a big fan of vertical video, but I can see why it's there, because it's becoming more popular and popular. It will record it so that it has metadata, so that the image editing software or the video editing software can recognize that it is a vertical video. So it's automatically turned to vertical video, so you don't have to fuzz around and rotate the video. And same thing if you upload the video to your smartphone, it will automatically recognize that it's a vertical video and it can be shared immediately. So for YouTube Shorts, TikToks, Insta Reels, this is a really handy tool. And we have to remember that the IBIS and the AF is top-notch for video. So I would claim that this is one of the best vlogging cameras there is on the market. But let's continue with photography features. Let me check what did I have next here. I put down some stuff about computational imaging. That is something that Micro Four Thirds and Olympus, I keep saying Olympus, OM system or OMDS should really concentrate on. And yes, they added LiveND on this. It's 4 stops, ND16. And what it does is that you turn it on and you can get images that look exactly the same as you would put a ND filter in front of the lens. And this also is a good thing because you don't have to have those ND filters with you. And yes, it is only for photography. If you do video, you need them. But if you're doing only photography with this, then the LiveND is a really handy feature, and it makes it a lot easier to take those moving water shots and all that. And that also backs up the fact that this is for the outdoor adventure photographer. And then another feature is handheld high-res shot. You can use this to produce 50 megapixel images handheld. And of course there are some limitations. If it's a really windy day, it might not be the best solution. But the weather like this, it's no wind at all. Basically, you can do really nice handheld high-res shots. And if you use a tripod, you get 80 megapixels, which is huge. And remember that the high-res shot has the benefit of recording the same spot with different colored pixels. So it's also the colors are better and the image quality is a lot better. And then it has ProCapture like EM5 Mark III had, and it has the same specs. 30 frames per second is the maximum speed, which is plenty. And then the usability. I already talked about how good and nice this feels in my hand. But then, of course, the menu system is something that you probably want to see what it looks like. And yes, it is the older system. It's not the same that OM-1. And personally, I would have liked to have it the way OM-1 has it, because it would be easier to use, more intuitive to use if you have 2 different cameras, because I might get one of these. But then I can understand it because this is not for the same photographers. This is more for those who will upgrade their cameras from not OM, but the EM5 Mark III or EM10 Mark IV maybe. They did add is My Menu, which is really huge because it has been in other brands for years and now it has been added, and I think that's a really good thing because then you just add those menu systems that you use a lot and that are not in the super control panel. You can add it to your My Menu and easy access and fast access, because sometimes menu systems are a bit hard to, or the items in the menus are a bit hard to find, so that makes the camera a lot better to use. So I think that's a really good addition to the whole camera. And you can add 7 items to 5 different pages, so you could 35 together. That's quite amount. And what I usually have is the computational imaging one, and maybe some video features in one, and formatting and all that type on the 3rd page. So I already have a quick access to things that I need frequently. And then also about the settings, there is one big improvement that they have brought back, and that is that you can now assign custom mode to buttons. That was in the EM10 Mark II and then was ripped out, but now it's back. And I think that's a huge thing because there's only one custom mode place in the mode dial, but now you can customize them to buttons, which is huge. That is, for usability, it is huge. And then there is one more really handy feature for usability is that you can store your settings to your smartphone using OI Share app and then upload them from there. So you have 4 custom places in the camera and then infinity numbers in your phone. So if you have some special things that you only need occasionally, you can, upload them from your phone. That's really good. And also the firmware can be uploaded or updated from the of using the OI Share app. That's good. That's good. Now, what are my thoughts on this camera? I said many good things about this, and I think they are going to the right direction with this camera. What about you? What do you think? What are your thoughts from what you've heard so far? Are you planning on getting one? Are you planning on upgrading? I will make some videos in the future in a couple of weeks where I compare this to the older model EM5 Mark III and also EM1 Mark III, because this is quite close to EM1 Mark III when it comes to features and benefits. I made this video about the OM system's future, and I think this camera backs those things up. And I think this is a very promising camera. It has very good improvements and really good benefits for photographers and for vloggers, which I think is something that Olympus did not take seriously enough, is video, and now I think they're improving quite a bit. They, which I didn't mention, they add the OM log to this one, so it's getting closer to be a really perfect video camera. It's not there yet, but maybe the next one will be. And then of course all the computational imaging features that they added, LiveND, Starry AF and all that, I think that backs up the claim that this is a really good camera for the outdoor adventure photographer. And there are 2 things that I haven't mentioned at all, and that's the sensor. I know you might not like it, but it is the same sensor as EM1 Mark III has. And I think it's totally okay. It's nothing wrong with the sensor. Okay, it's not the newest, but still I think it's a good sensor. And the image quality, I haven't had that much time to photograph this because I've only had it for less than a week. There's nothing wrong with the image quality. I'm not concerned about that. I will make some more in-depth videos about the image quality. It has TruePic 9 processor, and it is better or newer processor than EM5 Mark III has. So there might be or should be slight improvement in image quality, especially with high ISO, but that remains to be seen when I have tested it. And then about the price. It's $12.99 body only. And yes, it is a bit on the pricey side, but then it is quite a huge upgrade from EM5 Mark III. 20 new things or things that have been improved. I might buy one of these, maybe black version. I like the black version, even though this is quite stylish, but when I'm using this as a leisure camera, I'm doing street photography and stuff like that, so a black camera is not so visible, so I can be more invisible, like what they actually was saying about the camera, that it is an invisible camera, which is kind of funny way of marketing a camera, but what it means is that it is really small system. It's almost invisible. That's what it meant. But what are your thoughts? I've already asked this once, but what are your thoughts? How do you see this camera, and are you getting one, or maybe considering getting one? And if you're not, why not? Of course, if you already just bought a camera, that could be another thing, but there are other things that is totally something that is off, or are there features that you really need and want to have this? But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.